back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast. With the regular crew is here. Josh McQuiston joining us from Houston HQ. I can't speak today. Eddie Radosevich alongside, as well as George Stoya. And I got to be honest, I've been a little jealous this week. You guys have got to talk about the big win a whole lot, and I've had the Eskridge. I wasn't gonna make my own pod up or anything, but I'm excited to sit down and talk about this bye week, and got some practice coming up tonight, some practice availability. So a full day here at the Scoop offices, and we welcome in Josh McQuiston, who has done his duties and recruiting report, the Game Day Rewind so far this week on YouTube. Welcome to the program, Josh. How are we today?
Guys, doing well. You know, I've kind of been edgy the last few days, and I think I've figured out why. I am slowly coming down off my 7 pounds of candy eating from the Halloween festivities. So I am.
We were going to say maybe heroin, but candy's understandable.
Well, you know,
we would have seen track marks.
There was a time for that.
Eddie's very good at identifying the heroin users.
No, I think we would have seen track marks. We would have seen a history of possibly, I don't know. I know it when I see it, though.
That's good.
There can't be a lot of heavy set heroin users. I don't think that's a thing. I think that most of the money.
Are there not fat heroin addicts?
I think Chris Farley used the H a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But what didn't he use? That's why he was a fun guy.
Yeah, I think he used pretty much everything. That's why he died. Anyway,
that seemed harsh.
I mean, he died of drug overdose.
Speaking of deaths, I do want to take a second. Rest in peace, Dick Cheney. I know that he was the vice president of the United States of America and certainly has a place in history. So rest in power.
He died?
Yesterday. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
We lost him.
This isn't a joke.
No.
Okay.
He really died, yeah.
No. Can confirm.
Okay.
Fast.
Was he the one that shot somebody?
Yeah. He did.
On a hunting trip?
He did.
Did he shoot somebody in the face?
I think it was in the back, possibly. They were hunting.
Yeah. All right.
Also did some other things, but you could private message me on Sooner Scoop if you wanted to discuss.
Was he the guy that was he like the guy at Halliburton? Didn't he run Halliburton for a while or something?
I can't remember if it was Halliburton, but yeah, he definitely worked with defense contractors before he became vice president.
All right, we've had.
I think
we tried to get the show started. God, I can't talk. We had all kinds of internet problems. I hate to tell you this, Eddie, but we gotta work on the network, which I know you love. I would say
let's just wait until we get done with the post practice stuff today, and then I probably will be gone for the rest of the week, going to the bye week. Yeah, good luck.
I'm just going to tell you, me messing with the network is like the most toxic thing that happens in these offices.
Well, I just know that it's a slippery slope, and we got a big week next week.
I know.
With Alabama.
Biggest week of the season.
I mean, you cannot breathe on the network without messing it up. I hate it. And Eddie makes me even more crazy because I know he's going to just throw a shit fit when it goes bad, which it inevitably will.
So
because it's a network.
If we mess with the network,
then we get to use the new studio. Yes,
okay.
That's there's a. Everybody keeps saying, "Didn't you get the studio in?" Yes, I got the studio in, but there's so many other things they have to hook up. I mean, everything runs throughout the building over Ethernet. Even these microphones that we're talking, it's all Ethernet. So we gotta redo the network, and I'm not looking forward to it. So there, I got that. If I'm weird today, I'm worried about this. I just want to go to practice, talk football with people tonight, and then it's just going to be deep anxiety for the rest of the week for me. But we have to get it done so we can use the new studios.
The clear, raw emotions from all three of you that for a second there that was very real. That was an honest look inside the Scoop offices.
I mean, shit gets real when things go down with the network. We can't do our jobs. Everybody hates it. I just want you to know, I hate this too. I know you hate it.
I'm pretty over it. I don't care anymore.
Okay. So we're moving on.
I mean, that's a lot of network talk. I'm going to make note of that in the minutes.
I'm just trying to explain the dynamic of these offices. All right? It's not about the network. It's about the fighting that's going to happen because of the network. Okay. So it's a bye week. As I said, we'll talk to Britt Venables tonight. George, you were on the teleconference earlier. Our Mason Thomas news not forthcoming. Of course, it's only been a couple of days.
Yeah.
Now, there won't be an injury report this week because it's a bye week, right?
Yeah, correct. They don't play anybody. So no
that would be
that'd
quite
be awesome
fun,
if they had come out with a
actually that'd be terrible.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Updates.
George would have to be doing availability report updates on a Wednesday.
It was already.
No
It was. I was so angry last night to have to sit there and wait for the rankings and then wait for this. I did the teleconference afterwards, and I waited. I raised my hand. I immediately raised my hand to ask a question to the committee. Mm-hmm. And I sat there for 45 minutes and never got called on to ask my question.
Not part of the good old boy network.
No, but like there's people from, wherever the hell asking about just like, what do you think about the Virginia ranking? It's like, who cares?
Well, somebody in Virginia.
The only person that asked a good question on that last night was Ari Wasserman, our colleague, who asked why the hell is Notre Dame ranked 10th, which was a great question, and Mac Rhodes basically said, well, they look good. I mean, that was his answer.
Yeah, that's why you hired an entire committee so you can all give it the eye test? What are we doing here?
Stupid. We can get into the rankings later, but Brent Venables did speak today on the SEC teleconference. The only two notable things, I asked about R. Mason Thomas, basically no update. He just said we're going to continue to evaluate him. He did say that they hope to get a bunch of guys back. I don't know what that means or who that is. I would assume that's like Gentry Williams and Kobe McKenzie, Derek Simmons, guys like that. And then the other thing is he did talk about the college football playoff rankings just a little bit. And basically he said, like, we know if we win out, we're going to get in. Like, we just have to go win.
Yeah. I think that's, we had a big discussion. It wasn't really, I was just trying to dick around a little bit, but, it didn't surprise me that OU is behind Texas after they beat Vandy. I think it's fair where they're ranked right now. I mean, if they win out, they don't have a problem, though.
Correct.
And it's crazy that we're sitting here because a week ago, no, you would have been thought to be the biggest homer and crazy just ass to say that, I think OU could beat Tennessee and Alabama.
People called me that for saying that I was like, they could still make the playoff. And no one wanted to hear that at the time when they lost to Ole Miss, but it was the truth. And I think that it's a very small % chance, but I think if they lose to Alabama, they can still get in. They're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need a lot of help. But it's like, it's not open and door, whatever it is. It's not, the door will not be totally shut. I heard Josh Pate was talking about it this week. He's like, listen, OU and Texas.
It'd be like shut, but it's still unlocked.
Yeah, because like you just need, what you'll need is a lot of help. You'll need Notre Dame to probably lose.
You can't get two teams from the Big 12 and the ACC.
Like,
OU's made many a playoffs before where there has been chaos over the last 3 weeks of the season and things that you would have thought at the beginning of that month that you said, there's no way that team's going to go there and win. That happens, and then all of a sudden, but like you said, you can take care of everything next Saturday. Just go win in Tuscaloosa, and then it's basically a 3-week playoff. It's kind of like a baseball team in the wild card race. You got to keep winning to keep your name involved.
And look, if they get second half John Mateer in Tuscaloosa, I give them a chance.
Yeah, and I also think I think Alabama's really good, and they've been on an impressive run. I think that Oklahoma, defensively, if they can slow Alabama down, then why not? I mean, it's not like this is the Alabama defense of, years past where they're just unbelievable. They got some really good athletes. I think they're 12th in passing defense and 74th in rushing defense. And the way that Oklahoma's been able to run the ball, you think they'll be able to have some success. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what Alabama looks like this weekend against LSU. Who will they be kind of like Florida was this past week, where they give it their best shot with an interim head coach and they just kind of fall apart, or do they just get their ass kicked? Like that to me, like I think we'll kind of have a pretty good feeling on Alabama this weekend.
There's two great like SEC matchups this weekend with teams that you go, okay, well maybe you get the bump that everybody else gets off of a fired coach with obviously LSU going to Tuscaloosa on Saturday night, and then 3:00 in Nashville. Kind of interested just to see what the Auburn thing is. I said on radio this morning, I don't know if I'm more interested to see, or I don't know what I'm cheering for. I'm going to have to decide over the course of the next couple of days. Do I want Auburn to play really well and then it's like very glaring that Hugh Freeze was the problem, or do I want him to just fall flat on the face and then Hugh Freeze can, I don't know, like take a victory lap and be like, it wasn't just me.
Notre Dame, you know what's funny about Notre Dame's ranking to me is... Okay, Hugh Freeze got fired at Auburn, and he got fired because they kept falling short. They played well at times. I mean, they just could not make that game-winning drive or play or whatever, and he got fired for it. What has Notre Dame done? They've lost every opportunity that they've had to win really good, against really good competition.
USC a couple weeks ago.
That's true, but they still lost 2 games.
Yeah,
and the ultimate judge is
they lost on a final second play into A&M,
but it's not how you win or how you It's more about, I don't think Notre Dame did anything terrible. Like, okay, you cost yourself. I'm sure if you went back, you could say, if this play didn't happen, they win that game. You could do that with a lot of Auburn games too. Like at some point, you're just a lovable loser.
What?
Like Notre Dame,
they played the national championship.
Their resume is. They lost to Miami. They lost to A&M. They barely lost, but they still lost.
Here's the thing, and this is like just a commentary on all the college football playoff ranking stuff.
We know you don't care, Eddie. I know where you're going with this. We know you don't care, but it does matter in some regard.
It doesn't, though.
No, it does to know how the committee is thinking.
Correct. I think it does matter in the sense that, like...
I just don't think I care what the committee thinks.
Exactly. We know you don't. But I think it is very interesting that Notre Dame, if we're going off of resumes, they should not be where they're ranked. And I wonder, and now the committee can get it right down the line, and I think that they will. But like, it based on just pure resume, Texas should be ahead of Notre Dame, and I think Oklahoma should be too.
Oklahoma has 2 ranked wins.
Based on their own rankings, Texas has 2 better wins than Notre Dame's single one ranked win. Notre Dame's single ranked win was against USC, who's 19th. Texas has 2 ranked wins ahead of USC, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. There's no explanation. In their 2 losses, one's to the number 1 team in the country on the road.
Yeah.
And then the other one is on the road at Florida, who I know is not very good. But it's asinine to sit there and say, well, Notre Dame should be in over Texas. Like, that makes no sense. And then Oklahoma has the exact same argument.
And Georgia, I know you were going to ask last night if they would have taken your question. You're going to ask, how do you view John Mateer's hand injury against Texas?
Which I think they would have given a really interesting answer, because they, like the committee chair, Mike Rhodes, went, and talked about, like, I think it was Notre Dame, or he was talking about somebody's team. They're like, well, they lost their starting center, and we took that into fact that they were playing without their starting center in a certain game. And I'm like, well, then surely they probably took into the fact that John Mateer was playing with a broken hand against Texas. I don't know that, but like...
Well, 12 days or 17 days
whatever
after
it is, I just think that like it's a very interesting conversation, because he's clearly not the same player that he was. And I know a lot of people don't care, and you're right, Eddie, that it really ultimately doesn't matter, but I do think it is important
what you're saying. I just personally, I don't get involved in the conversation because I fall back on the idea. I think everybody somewhat agreed, right, when they were 1-2 talking about Notre Dame. If they go 10-2, they were going to get in.
Yeah. But then everything else happened around it.
Sure.
That's my thing.
I get it.
It's the same conversation. Like, everybody's like, well, everybody said if OU's 9-3, they're going to get in. Well, we didn't know what else was going to happen. We didn't know the Big 12 was going to have, possibly an undefeated BYU team and a really good, Texas Tech team. Like, we didn't know all those things.
The other part of me too, Josh, is that it just feels like we always do this. Like the last however many years, 15 years,
we do this where
we bitch about the first rankings. They talk about it on ESPN, which the best way to watch that show, by the way, is on mute. You get the rankings, then you turn it off. Maybe watch some college basketball or NBA basketball, whatever you want to case. It feels like it always works out in a way. I know that there's going to be cases where it doesn't work out, but I just think that like something that if Stuart Mandel cares about it, which Tuesday night of college football rankings is his night. He loves it, which makes me kind of hate it. I still don't think he's left his basement since COVID. Go ahead, Josh.
And Eddie, I agree. Like, it generally works itself out, but I do agree with George and Carey that they're like, you get an insight into what they're looking at, like what their the only problem with that is the criteria seems to move depending on what argument they want to make.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
If Notre Dame, Texas, and Oklahoma are all 10-2 at the end of the year, does Notre Dame stay ahead? Like, it seems maybe like they shouldn't, but based on the way they're looking at this, because that's a really interesting kind of circular argument, because if you look at Notre Dame and Oklahoma should be ahead of Notre Dame. There's literally no question about it to me, because they've got two very comparable losses in Ole Miss comparing to the A&M loss for Notre Dame, and obviously the Texas loss comparing to the Miami loss. But Oklahoma's got better wins. I've got to think that they struggled to put Texas in front of Notre Dame because of the Florida loss, that being the kind of real divergence in the four kind of primary games you would look at. And it's hard to push Oklahoma in front of Texas. Like, it feels like Texas, until they lose, is kind of Oklahoma's ceiling. Like, it's as far as Texas goes is as far as Oklahoma can go.
I also just want to say too, like, part of my frustration is I just think the whole process is stupid. Like, I think that, and I've said this before, like, I'm a big fan of just letting the BCS rankings, the computer system,
I've always said
which,
that.
To be fair
100%.
to that, if you look at it, it's the exact same. Notre Dame,
I think BYU and Tech are flipped, right?
Yeah, but I am also of the opinion that, look, I think it's great that the G5 gets a chance, but if we're sitting there
Kick
right
them
now,
out.
I agree, because if we're sitting there right now and a G5 program is getting in over this team, this Oklahoma team, or this Texas team, that's bullshit. Like, there's just no way that should happen. And I the way that I would do it is take the BCS rankings, and whoever the top 12 is in the BCS, that's who get in. There's no more auto bids. Conference championships, I mean, they matter to an extent because you want to win your conference, but they don't just automatically get you. Like the ACC this year, I don't know if they should get in over any of the 12 teams that are up there right now.
Probably deserves it. I mean,
do they? They just got their ass kicked by NC State.
Everybody
I
has
don't
one.
think the conferences would ever agree. I don't think the conferences would ever agree to let the conference championship games mean that little. They need to have stakes on them.
I would get rid of
people there.
My argument is I would just get rid of the
stuff.
conference championships.
Yeah.
Screw it.
And we know that's not going to happen.
And I know they'll never do it. But like, that's the thing, is like, this whole process to me is just dumb, where you just take, okay, who are the 12 best teams based on the advanced analytics and the BCS rankings, whatever it is, let them go play in the playoff. Like that to me is how I would do it.
I don't think the conference championships make enough money to where another round of NCAA playoffs wouldn't cover it.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'd have to look at, last I saw, it was like teams or conferences were getting like $6 million for playing those or something.
I would just rather have, like, a G5 has to hit a baseline. Like, they've got to be in the top 15 or top 20, whatever you want to make it to be realistic, of, again, a BCS ranking, not a eye test. You know, you can move it to make it suit whatever you need it to suit, but they have to fulfill a certain requirement. And then, okay, yeah, you get your auto bid. But this year, guys, there may not, I mean, I didn't know that the committee ranked outside of the top 25. I didn't know that was a thing, because they don't have one in there, and they've got an auto bid in. And you're like, well, how does that work? Like, I don't understand that at all. That's something we haven't seen before. So, again, and I know over time they'll slowly work Memphis or whoever it is into the ranking and make it look a little more, a little cleaner. But the number 24 team in the country who played one P4 team shouldn't be in the playoff. They just shouldn't.
I would like to volunteer to provide, I don't know if I want to pay for it all, but LASIK maybe for the committee so that they can see things better. Eddie, you know a joint that might be willing to help out.
I do. I will say, just real quick, I didn't think the committee did a bad job.
I don't either. Those are my only gripe.
Like Notre Dame, I see the gripe and I get it. I know Oklahoma fans. I also think it's really funny that and we'll do this every Tuesday night where the reporters for, Team A will say that team should be above Team B, and then Team B is telling Team A that it's funny to me. It's the kind of the same stuff with the Heisman Trophy where Alabama fan says Ty Simpson should win the Heisman Trophy and then makes this 4-tweet explanation on why they think it, when really they could have just said, I'm an Alabama fan and I think that Ty Simpson should win the Heisman Trophy. Anywho, yes, my good friends over at Enjoy Vision, we're trying to hook you up this holiday season. It's upon us, Sooner fans, and so are the savings at Enjoy Vision during Holidays of LASIK. Now through the end of the year, you can save an incredible $600 on LASIK and lens replacement. Whether you were born a little Sooner fan or maybe a bigger Sooner fan, which maybe we could get you a scholarship, everyone can enjoy the savings and a crystal clear vision just in time for bowl season. Hopefully no bowl season for Oklahoma. Hopefully they're in the playoffs. Schedule your LASIK or lens replacement consultation today at enjoyvision.com. Happy Merry Savings. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIKs.
And you know what? If Notre Dame contacted Cody Drug RX, maybe the peptides would put them over the top, and they could actually beat a good team besides USC. Peptides are the future of medicine, and Cody Drug compounds them every day in their state-of-the-art sterile lab. They've got peptides for things like weight loss, energy, focus, with popular names like Sermorelin, there, I did it, which triggers natural growth hormone release for anti-aging, fat loss, improved sleep, muscle growth, and recovery. Now, Cody Drug loves teaming up with Oklahoma providers and med spas to get your high-quality custom peptide therapy safely and fast. Just visit CodyDrugRx.com to get started with your future with peptides. And also check them out on Instagram, CodyDrugRx, and we'll walk you through a lot of the things to help you feel better from your in your day-to-day life. So CodyDrugRx.com, go check them out. Our good buddy Will, I think he went to the Tennessee game, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He was there.
So
PJ is now 2-0 when on site in going to OU football games. The onus is on them.
I also think
to Tuscaloosa.
We might have to limit the follow-wills from only letting Nathan attend games because Jared's got a terrible record in person. He was at the Ole Miss game. Nathan was at Tennessee.
1-0.
Sorry, Jared. You got to go. So, anyway, thanks to Cody Drug RX. Thanks to Enjoy. By the way, outside of all the rankings and all that, and I think we said this earlier, but Alabama, who do they play this weekend? LSU. And I think they're missing their starting linebacker, LSU is. But
he's questionable.
And he's the one that's dating Lane Kiffin's daughter, right?
Whit Weeks, yeah.
Whit Weeks, okay. But, I mean, look, it's going to be interesting to see LSU play the rest of the way because that team clearly hated Brian Kelly by the end of that A&M game. And they just didn't seem to play very hard for him. But, to me, that's the one team the rest of the way that I'm like, okay, they're very talented. Like, if their attitude kind of turns around, I could see them kind of playing really well coming into that Oklahoma game at the end of the year. That's the one that really scares. That's the one that, to me, that could derail any kind of playoff.
I mentioned it last week, I think, on the podcast. It might have been on one of the YouTube shows. Either or. I'm super interested to see if they'll get that bump, just like Auburn, like we were talking about earlier, going to Nashville this weekend to take on Vanderbilt. Like, they've been close. Is it going to be fun to see, did they just really hate their head coach and are going to be able to put together a really good game? I think selfishly, I kind of want Alabama to win. I don't know if I necessarily want Oklahoma to have to go to Tuscaloosa, catch an Alabama off of loss. But, I do think that there are some things that just can't be, overtaken by firing a head coach, and LSU's offensive line problem. Certainly, I don't think all of a sudden it just gets better. We've seen how that works out for teams that just hope that their offensive line's going to play better.
I have a question. Might be fun to debate or just to discuss. Where's Jackson Arnold play next year?
Georgia and I talked about this when we were landing on Sunday boarding. I have no idea.
SMU's QB is a sophomore, right, Josh?
Here's the thing, though, Carey. What makes Jackson Arnold
Who's going to take him?
right? And I had a conversation with my dad and my buddies about this. I think a lot of us would have thought, okay, maybe he ends up in Starkville. Is Jeff Levy in a position right now to take a chance on somebody because they have a good relationship? Like, they got to win football games. It's a really interesting conversation around what ends up happening with Jackson. What do you think, Josh?
Guys, I think he may go home. Like, North Texas is going to need a quarterback next year. I don't care
because
if
Eric Morris is going to leave
or he goes. But that Mestamaker kid, somebody's going to drop a bag on him.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
Let me throw this one. Oh, they'd probably be happy to have him. Let me throw this one out there because he's been a resurrector of quarterbacks in the Dallas area before. Sonny Dykes,
TCU.
Mm-hmm. I think Jackson's
fits what they do offensively.
Sure. Jackson's one of those guys. Like, people are still going to take a chance. Like, he's, it's like. What's the saying? Like, women always try and fix men or whatever. It's the same with quarterbacks in offensive coordinators.
That would be interesting. I really hadn't thought. What's the Josh Hoover situation? Is he a sophomore or junior?
I think he's a junior.
Okay.
I think he's eligible. I'm almost certain, actually. He's a redshirt junior. He's a fourth-year guy.
And I think there's so many moves that could be made. Like, if Eric Morris were to leave North Texas, who ends up at North Texas, would he take the Mestamaker kid with him if he left North Texas to wherever he ended up? Tulane, John Summerall. I know that they got the kid from BYU, but does he end up at an SEC school? Like, the trickle down effect from the coaching carousel is going to be unbelievable, and not to mention all the stuff with Lane Kiffin. And is he going to end up staying at Oxford? Can Florida, can whoever wait on a coach to go through the playoffs? I have no idea. It's going to be like, once the games get winded down at the end of the season, it's going to be even more interesting in the month of December what happens in the world of college football. Would you take a chance on Jackson?
No.
Any of you?
No.
Especially if you had to win? Yeah.
Not at a high level.
He's a job coster. I mean, he's a coach killer so far. I mean, he almost killed Brent.
I think, guys, and you, I'd like to hear your thought on this. I feel like more and more with the portal, especially at that position, we're finding guys who kind of find their level. Like Chandler Morris was like, oh, you can't win with him. You can't win with him. And then he kind of found his level. And then Virginia's kind of found a way to work with him. Like, okay, we can do this with him. We can, this is how we can have success. And, they've been a little bit lucky, but still, like, he found a level. And I kind of think that's the deal with Jackson Arnold. I just don't think Jackson Arnold's a high-level SEC quarterback. I think we've got to accept that. But if you told, like, North Texas or even Oklahoma State, I'm like, okay, he might could go play in the – because – guys, what you're facing defensively in the SEC and the Big 12 are just two totally different things.
Yeah, but I've just seen enough. I mean, at some point, you just have to say we've seen enough. And
I think Hugh Freeze saw enough, and then it ultimately cost him. It kind of double backfired on him because he put in the backup, and then they were even worse offensively. And I think Jackson did come in Saturday night against Kentucky.
You know who everybody's talking about coming out of that game? Seth McGowan. They're like, that dude's a beast.
He's had a hell of a year.
He's like the only good player for Kentucky.
Yeah. Guys, I mean, I remember his freshman year, people were like, he is so good. Like, they were just over the moon about him. And you kind of just can't help but wonder, like, what might have been if he hadn't, made some decisions.
What about Cincinnati? The Sorsby kid probably goes to the draft after this year, right?
I think
he's a junior.
I don't know that he's got it. Is he?
Oh,
yeah.
He won't go.
You don't think?
Draft? I don't think so.
Brendan Sorsby?
He's been good, but
I'd be pretty surprised. He doesn't throw the ball that well.
Okay.
He's like a day 3 pick.
Yeah, I mean, he could get drafted, but I mean, I think it would be a strictly kind of project. He's going to be on the practice squad for a couple years and try to see if they can make something of him.
Baylor need a quarterback?
They will.
But
they
that's
need
kind of the
Baylor
same.
needs a lot of
that's
talking about.
They've got a good quarterback, and it doesn't do anything for him except
what?
I mean,
Who?
they're often
Sawyer
Baylor.
Robertson.
Sawyer Robertson?
No, they've got a good quarterback. I'm saying it hasn't really helped them win a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and
they've
that's
got. I'm trying to say they have bigger problems.
I mean,
than just a
they need to
quarterback.
fire
That-
Dave Aranda.
that's another situation where, I don't think if Dave Aranda got another year, he's not in a position where he can just take a flyer on a quarterback. He has to
Right.
kind of have a proven commodity.
The problem is, and this goes for across the entire country, there's not a lot of proven commodities.
Sure. 100%.
And that's why, like last week, when everybody's like, they need to get rid of John Mateer and go after somebody else. It's like, who are you going after? There's not like there's like this great.
There's a reason John Mateer was heralded as the best transfer.
It's not like there's just a ton of options out there.
No, and that definitely is true.
I mean, look
Guys,
at the.
what do you?
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Josh.
What do you think of? Is that a sustainable model to you that we're just going to go get the best quarterback out of the portal every year? That feels like poor planning and like hope is a tactic. I hope we're going to get the right guy and we're going to have the most money to pay him, and all these things have to fall in place in the matter of a month. And
Who are you saying is doing that? Whose plan is that?
I'm saying when I talk
Just
to
in
OU fans,
general.
I don't know why they why they recruit these big time high school quarterbacks because it's like a 50% hit rate, and secondarily, look at all the success they've had with portal guys. I hear it. I know what you're saying. There's evidence to say this is right. I think Oklahoma's been extremely lucky. Baker Mayfield fell in their lap.
Well, but I wouldn't even classify Baker and Kyler and Jalen because that was before the money. Now you're bidding against other people. I don't know if Baker had a whole bunch of bidders coming out of Texas Tech, would he have ended up at OU or would he ended up someplace that was going to pay him $3 million?
Miami's kind of tried to do that, haven't they, over the last couple of years with the quarterback with Cam Ward?
Well, I mean,
it worked out for him.
Obviously, Ole Miss has done it very well, as good as anybody. I'm trying to think who else is, and granted, they Chambliss is something that they kind of
to be
didn't
fair,
know
you
they
look
had.
at Ohio State, Indiana. They've got transfer quarterbacks who are playing extremely well right now. A&M. Marcel Reed was a recruit, right? He was a high school recruit, right?
Yeah,
that signed. Yeah, with
he's not a transfer.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed bag. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. Carson Beck looked great to start the year, and now he's not playing very well at Miami. And
I think it's a lot easier.
Ty Simpson was a recruit, right?
Yes, yeah,
high school
he
recruit.
was. So was Nussmeier.
Isn't it a lot easier though for a quarterback to step into somewhere like we saw last year with Ohio State and Will Howard? You step into a great situation as a quarterback at a good, solid program. I think for a lot of these schools that are trying to do this where you're getting the quarterback, it's like, well, you got the quarterback, but you don't have the program. It's like not very often do you find where the two match up and it's a perfect kind of equation. And certainly OU kind of stepped into that, I guess you could say. You're right, though, Carey. It's a different world that we're living in now.
I don't think Lane Kiffin has mastered it. I just think he's a good coach, and they've had other good pieces, like you said, around him.
And that's
what was so disappointing about Auburn is they had really good pieces around Jackson Arnold, and still didn't work.
And Lane Kiffin fell into Trinidad Chambliss. I don't think that this was they
were looking for a backup.
Yeah, I mean,
Simmons.
it didn't even start the season for him. So they kind of fell backwards into that. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you got to get lucky. Just like,
you kind of fell into Baker.
Missouri, they got unlucky. I mean, they got the right quarterback in Bo Pribula, and then he just, breaks his leg or whatever, or dislocates his ankle. I don't know what exactly it was. And, he was playing great football for him,
They might beat Vanderbilt.
Yeah, with Pribula.
If he would have been healthy,
yeah. I think so. But, I still think, but Josh, to your point, you got to recruit high school quarterbacks because
I just think it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like because what if you do get the next Ty Simpson or I know some people out there don't want to hear this, but the next Arch Manning. I mean, he's playing really good football now, or at least looks to be playing better than what he was at the beginning of the year. What if Bo Bentley is in a couple years that type of guy? Like you can't not just not recruit.
It is. I'll tell you this. It is from a fan perspective. Like if you see a guy in the build of a John Mateer versus a Bo Bentley. I mean, Bo Bentley looks like a kid because he is one. Like John Mateer looks like a grown man because he is one. Like it's just people are like, oh, we need to get these big, strong guys with great arms. Like this high school kid. No, he's not there yet. Like, but he's going to be. So it's and Josh, I mean, Bo Bentley, he can run, he can throw, he's got great accuracy. Like there's a lot there to like, but it's going to take time for him, to learn the system, to get used to the speed of the college game, get used to the speed of the SEC. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for Ty Simpson.
Well, and that's the thing. Like people are like, well, okay, like George was talking about earlier. People saying, well, you got to get rid of Mateer. Okay. So let's say you find the right guy, the guy that really is a trigger man, and you pay him the big bucks, and he comes in, great. He's got to learn the offense. He's got to learn all the personnel. He's got to learn all the calls. Like he's got to start from behind where John Mateer started. Like so, there's an element to that is not as easy as like, oh, he's talented, just go plug him in. Jackson Arnold's talented. That doesn't mean that it works. Like that's not how that goes. So I think. People having that idea that you can just marry something together and it always works. That's not the way that goes. So, again, people are like, I guarantee you, if John Mateer starts slow next year, it's going to be like, when's Bo Bentley going to get on the field? It's not going to, like, you can throw Bo Bentley out there and you're going to see a lot of the same problems because he's a young quarterback trying to learn. I think
the
guys who are ready as freshmen are just rare.
I think OU's doing what they need to do. They're getting transfers when they can, but they're also recruiting a high-level quarterback. I think OU's biggest problem with the current setup in college football is after watching all these games this year, in the NFL, they have, their value that they place, like running backs. They don't place a particularly huge value on running backs because you can get lots of different guys to play that position. I think that in college, receivers should be valued a lot more than they are because
I agree.
I watch all these other teams with just creatures, and when you're talking about third down percentages and all that stuff, that shit really matters in college more so than it does to me in the NFL when you've got, generally the best trigger men that you can have in the sport. You don't always have that. Even John Mateer, I mean, he's not the most accurate guy at times, and how much of that's the hand, I don't know, but like these quarterbacks need to be able, just like Tennessee, they need to be able to throw the ball up in one-on-one and let somebody make a play. That happens much in college football.
And I think, you look back on what OU did in the portal this last year, and I think that you're right. They should have gone out and tried to get like maybe 2 big names, but part of the problem was they lost, I think, was it 6 wide receivers in the portal? And so they're like, we got to get at least 5 to just build that room back up and have bodies. And so they ended up having to spread the wealth around. They didn't. They weren't able to go after some big names. That was also the former front office staff in the winter portal. And then when Nagy came in, they tried to go after some big receivers in the spring portal.
But they got outbid, yeah.
Yeah, and the market wasn't very good. And they missed on Jaden Ott. Like, let's be blunt about that. Like
I'm still waiting. He's got some time left.
That's obviously the money they would like back to maybe go spend on a big name. But also, if I remember correctly, I don't think the spring portal had near as many big names at wide receiver. And they ended up getting Jermichael Carter, who, hey, made a nice catch the other day. But I think this offseason, I think they're going to try and retain Isaiah Satania. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to go to the NFL. He's having that type of year. But if you can bring back, and I know Giovanni Gibson hasn't lived up
watch list today.
I know, I saw that. I know Giovanni Gibson hasn't lived up to the hype, but if you can bring back some of these guys, and then you can go spend, a good chunk of money on, I think the wide receiver market is actually going to be pretty good.
Like, I'm not saying that OU has to go out and get the Zachariah Branches when they're out there, but good God. I mean, what the difference that he makes on a football field, it's probably worth whatever he's getting paid.
Cam Coleman would be nice.
I mean, I think let's have the conversation. Like, do you just say, Cam Coleman, we're getting him and we'll figure out what we can afford?
I just don't know. Like, here's the thing with Cam Coleman is I think Oklahoma would love to get Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman's going to get a ridiculous number thrown at him by, Oregon or Texas or whoever. And I just don't know, is OU going to be like, yeah, we're going to match that? They probably should, but like,
how about this? If Mateer comes back, then you just go for it. I mean, just go for it.
And I think, guys, I don't know about you. I feel pretty confident that John Mateer is going to be back next year.
I don't understand a world where he wouldn't be. Like
I think it'd be kind of crazy if he left.
A poor choice.
Yeah, I don't think he has the.
I mean, I don't even think that he would get the grade that he would want right now.
No, I think teams will tell him like,
you should come back.
You need to go back and you need to be healthy.
Yeah. As it stands
he's a day 3 pick at best.
Can I be like glass half full super homer right now? If they were to go on a run and say they get to the college football semifinals or something crazy, like
that would mean he's playing at a very high level.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that would be the only way that you think back and you go, oh, okay, I could see why he left.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen.
Sure, and I'm not saying it. I'm just devil's advocate the other side.
I would. It just.
But
it seems like the smart choice would be for him to come back.
But that's kind of like, that's, guys, to me, like if I'm OU, and let's say they go 9-3, they miss out on the playoff, whatever. John Mateer's back next year. I feel pretty good about the offensive line. Now you might need to go get a couple bodies, but like in terms of your starting 5, I think they kind of have it in a lot of ways. And then you look at running back, Xavier Robinson back, Torrey Blaylock. I think they probably need to add a vet guy there just because you won't have a ton of bodies. I think if they can go add a big wide receiver, a playmaker there, and then a big-time tight end, because you look around the country, man, a lot of the best teams have, a lot of them have 2 guys that are high-level players at tight end. I mean, look at the guy that Tennessee had, number 0. I mean, Oklahoma could use that guy. So, like, if you can go get, a couple wide receivers and a couple, big-time tight ends, man, I think they got a chance to be pretty good on that side of the ball.
Oh, guys, you look at it. I think I did the math on it the other day. Like, I think they look likely to return like 16 or 17 starters next year.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Cam Coleman conversation that, you can connect to the offensive line, the emergence of Ryan Foje as a right tackle, so OU doesn't have to go in the portal and find a tackle.
Oh, man.
Guys, that's a huge – like, Ryan Foge is going to make money. Like, don't get me wrong. But they already have him in. They'll probably get a little hometown discount in there. That's more money you can spend towards something else, towards a tight end, towards a receiver, whatever.
No, that's a great point. I want to talk a little bit more about that, too, and especially the defense. But first off, I want to tell you guys we've been talking about him all week, Huel. They've got we in the office have the black edition ready to drink. I really like the strawberry banana, and the iced coffee's not bad either. But like, you guys know how it is. You're busy. You're doing a lot of stuff. I don't like having like big lunches here at the office. So just being able to go have that ready to drink, Huel, whatever flavor I choose, it makes it so I'm not tired or lagging the rest of the day, and my stomach's not just gurgling, and not gurgling, but what do you call that? When you're hungry.
Growling?
Growling, yeah. Stomach, when it's growling, I don't like it, sitting around and have my stomach growling all day. I just want to have something that just makes me feel good until I can get to dinner, and that's what Huel does for me. And also, the daily green stuff. I mean, I'm not a big coffee guy. Josh, I don't know if you're a coffee guy or not.
I am absolutely not. I wake up kind of rolling out of bed. I don't need any juice.
Well, you don't need the product. Thanks. Great read. Great job, Josh.
What I'm saying.
This is why we never let Josh.
Another identifier, though, that you do not use heroin.
Anyway, the daily greens, to me, like I do drink coffee every once in a while, but it just makes me jittery. But this stuff, man, it is like a rocket ship. I mean, blueberry, apple, peach. It basically gives me a head rush when I drink it because it is packed with all kinds of 42 vitamins, minerals, superfoods, only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber. So the daily greens, find the one that you like. and use that if you need a little pump up in the morning. But go to Huel.com/Sooner Scoop, and you'll get 15% off with this exclusive offer for new customers only. And just use the promo code Sooner Scoop, or go to Huel.com/Sooner Scoop. Minimum $75 purchase, but thanks to the good folks at Huel for keeping us fueled here in the office throughout the days. All right, you were talking about Ryan Foje, Josh, and I was thinking about this, like, all the times, like, you remember covering the team or watching the team earlier in Brent's tenure, and I think of, like, certain games where OU lost a guy on defense and it just ruined their day. Like when Ryan Reynolds went down in that Texas game and they brought Brandon Crow in. Comanche shout out. Always liked Brandon, but he wasn't a very good middle linebacker. But like that defense would fall apart. And I think it was Wayne Chambers. Who was the guy that came in against Fresno State that one year, that linebacker? And he hadn't played hardly at all, but he like had the game of his life.
Was it Latimer? Was that Zach Latimer?
I don't think it was Zach Latimer because he was so highly recruited.
What game?
OU versus Fresno State.
2003. I'm looking at the schedule right now. I'm just trying. I don't want to look it up because I want to come up with it.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
I remember them playing Fresno. I don't.
It might have been Latimer went out and Chambers came in.
Well, no, because that's the game Lance Mitchell got hurt.
Oh, so it was Lance Mitchell got hurt, and I think Wayne Chambers
went
came
out.
in.
I'm trying to think of who replaced him.
I think it was Wayne Chambers.
It could have been. That would be the right time period.
I'm trying to pull up the final stat. It's so long ago. I don't know if they don't like the box score works on Suter Sports.
Anyway, we can figure that out. But it's like that's what's so impressive about what Brent's done with this defense now is like to start Owen Heineke when and he's been a good player, but to have people that can come in when you don't have Kobe McKenzie and dominate a game. Like, he's never had this depth at linebacker at Oklahoma anyway. I just want to know, like, what did he learn at his time in Clemson that helped him develop so many players at so many different positions? I mean, you were talking about it, George, this week about PJ Adeborough. Like he's starting to look like a dude now. I mean, and he's making plays that matter in games. And our Mason Thomas went out in the first quarter, and it didn't affect them really at all from being able to bring pressure and be all over the field. It's just really impressive what he's done in just building not just a starting unit, but backups, reserves. On the defensive side of the ball, I've never seen anything like this at Oklahoma in all my time of covering it.
And I think it's the coaching staff too, to be able to, like, I think he has an incredible defensive coaching staff. Like, these coaches on that side of the ball, I think, are elite. And even, bringing in Nate Dreiling and Wes Goodwin to be able to teach somebody like an Owen Heineke, the Mike linebacker position the week of the game. It's just crazy. And they just have so many guys. Like you said, you lose R. Mason Thomas, and he's a game wrecker, and you miss him, but like Taylor Wine, Marvin Jones Jr., PJ, and Danny Okoye, I think it was the next series, had a sack. It's like they have so many dudes. Like, when's the last time you felt that way about a defense? Or how about, they're playing O'Marion Robinson in the second quarter at safety, a true freshman. I mean, it's insane the amount of guys. Gentry Williams doesn't play, and Cortland Guillory, and I know we can have a Cortland Guillory discussion, but I think he's really good.
I do too.
But I think he's been fantastic. And like quietly, like every time that somebody like gets upset that he gets a PI or gives up a 15-yard reception or something, it's like that's gonna happen. Yeah. The body of work though has been he might be having one of the better freshman seasons outside of Eli Bowen, which is kind of ironic that they are doing something right at the quarterback position with Jay Valai. That he's been able to step in. Real quick, I'm going to throw a couple names at you.
Okay.
Definitely not Gayron Allen.
Wait.
Gayron Allen?
No, it was Gayron Allen.
So
Gayron Allen?
It was Gayron Allen, yeah.
I found the article from when it happened, and it's literally talking to Jason White about talking to Lance Mitchell about the injury and how you deal with it. And basically it sounds like Teddy Lehman moved over to Mike to fill in for Lance, and then Gayron stepped into weak side where Teddy had been.
Okay. I thought it was going to either be Russell Dennison, shout out, King, or Pasha Jackson?
No, that day, I don't know, but I think some of those other guys were out, and I think Gayron Allen basically was forced. He was the only guy that could play, and he was, like, magnificent. That's how I remember it. It might not have been that way, but...
Teddy was a senior on that team. Anywho.
Should text Teddy and talk about a lot of things right now with him.
He's at a war right now, it sounds like. Read it up on the Crimson Corner. Just for $1, you can do so. Back to the regular current 2025 version of the Oklahoma Sooners. It's been incredible. Like they have been able to build depth, and I think that a lot of times when they would talk about competitive depth, at least on the defensive side of the football, you kind of rolled your eyes at it a lot, but it certainly has come together. I mean, I think that I'm in a much better headspace with what they were able to do against Tennessee than I was coming out of the Ole Miss game, where it just seemed like you really missed that opportunity to kind of make the statement that you're a defense that's not just good, but possibly great, borderline elite. You kind of balanced it back out, even though you weren't able to do so against Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I think, Josh, for me, it's like the Ole Miss game, I'm not calling it an anomaly, but I think we're just so conditioned, like, could OU really have an elite defense? Like, is it?
Well,
like,
Carey, I
is
think
that really? Can that really happen in this day and age?
Everything I think would have looked a lot better against Texas or Ole Miss if you're able to just force
some
a couple
stuff on offense.
Well,
too.
force a couple turnovers.
Yeah,
like those turnovers completely changed the complexion of the game. And I know that like it's easy to, when you're not able to force the turnovers, kind of just overlook it as, yeah, you just can't count on something like that. But in some of these games, and especially with the 3 that are left, forcing turnovers is a massive, massive deal.
Yeah.
Tennessee's been able to cover up some of their warts with the ability to force turnovers.
Yeah, they remind me some of the the early Oklahoma State defenses under the guy at Penn State now.
Jim Knowles.
You almost
Jim
tired.
Knowles.
I'm just going blank.
Jim
What's
Knowles.
that? Yeah, like they weren't that great, but they were super opportunistic and they just kind of made plays. And I think that's kind of where Tennessee is right now. Guys, what's crazy is, you're talking about, Owen Heineke and that depth and that sort of thing. To me, there is no question linebacker is the position they have the least depth at. Like that's what's surprising to me, because I feel like they feel confident in, 4 guys. And then outside of that, I don't know how much faith they have in what they have. And that's not like a shot. It's just young guys and James Nesta and Taylor Heim and some of those kind of guys. So it's just interesting to me that they have done so well at linebacker, but to some degree have also had some luck in staying very healthy and not really having to rotate through, beyond their 2 deep.
Do you guys think that I hate these conversations usually, but because it's a bye week, I'm going to entertain it. Where does the R. Mason Thomas play rank up there in like the last 25 years? Because I'm not old enough to like talk about the history of the 70s and 80s and stuff. There wasn't a whole lot in the 90s.
Eddie, I think it's too early to answer that question. Because if
I agree.
If Oklahoma goes on a run here and makes the playoff, then it's up there. I mean,
Sure.
it's one of the best.
I think it's up there just overall, but it would be even more so.
That's what I mean.
You're talking about maybe even competing on the Superman play, which because I posed the question yesterday on Twitter, and I got a lot of really good responses. And something that I think often I'm not taking away from the play. I would vote it number 1, the Superman play with Teddy and Roy. You do kind of forget, or at least I had forgotten, that was in a Cotton Bowl year.
Oh yeah.
The 2001 season.
Like I think like when I think of the Superman play, I just kind of lump it almost into like 2000. And I know that you can't.
I think it's more about OU Texas than it is about what it meant to the season.
For sure.
And the fact that it sealed a game,
Guys, the play that it reminds me of, like just kind of like point in the season, the gravity of it, is the Torrance Marshall interception against A&M and the return. Like just because of how big it was, and that it's like you said, Eddie, or like you guys were discussing, that play became bigger because of what Oklahoma would accomplish later in the year. Like that play, and it was pivotal. A&M was really moving the ball well that day, and that was kind of like Oklahoma kind of like finally broke serve there. They finally got Ferris to make a mistake, and that was really where that whole game turned. So that's kind of what
it was late
our
in the game,
Mason
yeah.
play feels like. Yeah, absolutely.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
I mean, it's not as flashy of a play, but the Nick Benito interception in 2019 to win the Baylor game, I mean, that ended up being
twice.
Yeah.
Well, he dropped the first.
Yeah,
well, that's what I'm saying.
The second
Yeah,
try,
he got in
But
position the first
but
time.
That ended up sealing that because Baylor was driving. And if OU loses that game, I'm pretty sure they would have been knocked out of the Big 12 championship. They wouldn't have made the college football playoff.
Yeah.
That was a massive, massive play.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the ones that I think always gets forgotten is Trey Brown's sack against Texas in the Big 12 championship game that year. Not a turnover, but it was just a huge. I guess it technically was because it was a safety, but it was that's just a massive play that I think people forget about.
Trey Brown also
I did when we were talking
had
about
the catch from behind on the Iowa State. I know we had kind of gone over all the
Baylor.
big plays.
Baylor.
the rundown.
What did I say? Iowa State.
Yeah,
Baylor. Yeah. I know you had kind of worked and put together a little bit of a, I don't know, like a running list of just some of the biggest plays that we could remember off the top of our head. It's just kind of interesting.
I mean, like, I don't know if you would put special teams in there, but I would say there's so many things that happened in 2000 with J.T. Thatcher on returns, that Kansas State game. I think they had a kickoff return for a touchdown in that game. Like, those, like we've seen that before too. Like OU Texas, we talked about a lot, but like kickoff returns for touchdowns, that's almost like you almost always win that game if you do that.
Yeah. That and pick sixes, it seems like, are
Alex
the two
Ross,
things
I
that
think Alex
it's hard
Ross
to
had
overcome.
That kick return for a touchdown at West Virginia the first time they wore the Rough Riders, I think.
Yes. He did have one in West Virginia. He also had one in Stillwater in Bedlam.
Yeah, that's
in one
right.
of those just back and forth crazy games.
Zach Sanchez had a pick six against Texas.
That was in one of the ass beatings, if I remember correctly.
I actually think it was one of the close ones.
What about
was it?
what
That
was
was
the
like
28-20 game or
What would you
something.
say the signature
I can't remember, though.
signature play was in the Alabama Sugar Bowl? Was it Geno Grissom?
Yeah, the strip sack
Strip
return.
sack, Eric Stryker.
Derrick Henry running was pretty badass, though.
Jesus. If they'd only started him.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. I mean, I would say probably the strip sack. For me, I think like the Trevor Knight throw before halftime to Sterling was pretty badass. Was it Sterling?
It was, what's his name from Mississippi?
LeColton Bester.
LeColton Bester.
LeColton
That's
Bester.
right. That's right. That's like one of the best scoop HD shots we've ever had.
And then you had the Zach Sanchez interception on, what's his name that was still playing?
That was Colvin, right? Or was it Sanchez?
Sanchez.
It was Sanchez.
I will say this, talking about, I'm thinking of the
Bama
one,
game?
Yeah.
the Bama game 2014. He like
Oh, that
jumped
would've
the
been-
route
I think
on.
that
was
would've been
Sanchez.
Col-
I think it was Sanchez.
Was it Sanchez?
No, I'm
Sanchez had
second-guessing.
the game ender in Knoxville in 2015.
Yes, he did.
So yeah, he probably would have been around in 14.
But you were talking about Josh, like, or somebody. We were talking about Cortland Guillory getting criticism. Like, I can count on one hand the number of elite cornerbacks at Oklahoma that weren't really criticized. Like Aaron Colvin probably didn't get. I don't remember him getting that much criticism. Zach was a gambler, so he would
It
get
was
criticism
Sanchez.
for that.
Sanchez had the interception.
Oh, people love to talk about Derek Strait. Carey, do you remember that A&M game when he just got burned on double moves like all day? OU fans were like, "Oh, he's not nearly as good as everybody says." Dude won the Thorpe Award.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and people just cooked him for a whole game that day. So absolutely,
We should
It's one of those things like,
maybe have a talk with his mom about how that happens.
yeah,
It's way more
Guillory,
noticeable for
it's-
quarterbacks too.
I feel like because almost like, and to be fair, I'm not sure that some of his mistakes aren't just smart. Like if he does get beat, he's like, I'm gonna take the PI. I'd rather give up 15 than 40, which great. That's good math. Like do that every time. But I think like he gets beaten and people are like, oh yeah, see? And then they don't notice him for 35 plays, and then they don't realize Tennessee would be throwing at him every time if he was in poor coverage, or Ole Miss, or whoever it may be. They don't ever recognize, like, their corners, like, when you don't notice them, they're probably doing the right thing. And you don't see them again until until something does happen. And the other thing to remember is, guys, is it me or does he keep drawing everybody's number one wide receiver? Like, he got Cam Coleman a ton. The kid from Tennessee is an NFL guy all day, every day. He's a really good player. Ole Miss, I mean, like, he keeps getting tough assignments. And, I mean, you could argue Cam Coleman cooked him up pretty good, but, like, Cam Coleman had 80 yards. Like, I can live with that against your number one wide receiver.
I will say it does seem like every time he gets a penalty, it's on 3rd and long. It's just like especially against Tennessee. I think both his PIs came on 3rd and long. It's like, damn it.
Before he got the first one, that would have been an incredible interception on like the 3rd play of the game. Something else that I forgot about in the Tennessee game was the fumble on the first play of the game. How crazy was that?
Yeah, he like threw it backwards.
I can't believe that. Yeah, like watching it live, I was like, oh, that was incomplete. And then they didn't even review it. Obviously, it wasn't.
George, did you look at that on the All-22?
Yes. Yeah.
Eli Bowen is going to walk in with a pick six on that play. Like, Aguilar sees him too late, and he tries to pull it back, and that's what happened.
Yeah,
on the fumble. Like, he's going to Kitzelman in the flat, and Eli Bowen's just sitting on it, like, just waiting for him to make the throw.
And on the Tennessee touchdown, Josh, in the second half where they missed the tackle, Guillory.
Yes,
he's sitting right. If Guillory just is a half second sooner, he's pick sixing that. Like, he's taking it to the house. Like, he's sitting right there, and then he doesn't wrap up, but him and Bowen were in perfect position on that play, and they just hit each other.
Okay, speaking of the wrapping up, and I know somebody mentioned Cortland's mom earlier. Can we talk to the OU fans out there that are telling his mom, like, he just got to work on his tackling? Like, really, to his mom? Gee, like, knock it off. Just be like, okay, we went too far. We got a little angry during the game, but, like, we love him. But could you talk to him about his tackling? Like she's getting on the phone with him, like, okay, Cortland, we're going to break down. We're going to put our helmet across the chest. Like, stop. That's like not what they're doing.
She is a great follow on Twitter. I love Cortland Guillory's mom.
That's like James Hale saying last week to Brent that he needs to stop having his players jump off sides. He's like,
I knew there was something I had to tell the team earlier.
He's like, all right, let me write that down real quick.
I think there's just like a whole bunch of
meeting with it.
There's a whole bunch of Sheldon Coopers that are OU fans online, like to tell his
Big
mom.
Bang Theory.
Yes, there you go.
I know entertainment.
Like, has no social cues whatsoever. Like, they're just like, they just say random stupid shit to people's moms. I mean, God. Anyway,
should we talk some
recruiting?
It's
better than death threats. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And maybe
to her credit, I thought she took the tackling stuff well. She said something like, yeah, we've talked to him about it before, whatever. I'm like, oh, my God. That's amazing.
She's definitely in his ear. Got to tackle better.
I hope we talk to Cortland tonight. I'm going to ask him.
I'm just putting him down on the list. Okay. Yeah, let's sit on a little recruiting. If you saw the recruiting report, you got to see some of the recent I got to tell you guys, I just want to jump in and talk about the DeZern kid over and over again. I mean, he's just a stud. And I know you've hinted, like, the heat is rising on him from schools and stuff, but I don't know. I see kind of like, I see kind of an A.J. Brown is who I make the comparison to with him. He's just thicker than you think, but he's I mean, I don't know that A.J. Brown is really considered a burner, but, I mean, he definitely, is one of the best in the league.
And we should say this is a 2027 kid.
Yeah.
He's just a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Josh, I did want to ask, is that a guy that the front office staff identified?
Yeah, that's a guy. Well, and I mean, I have no doubt that Emmett was aware of him, but he's a guy that has a long relationship with Stacey Ford, like dating back to, when Damari was pretty young. So I think that is really what led that. That's what got him out on campus. That's that's a big part of it. And I know I've mentioned him a lot, and Nagy and the whole staff, but again, I just can't say it enough. Those guys do a good job, not just identifying talent, but helping the staff kind of build relationships early on.
By the way, I would like to mention that we're not trying to fire any staff members this week. So any staff members or families that are upset, I was probably the one that advocated for firing. more than anybody, but we'd like to get emotional here on the pod from time to time.
Well, I fired everybody, but I did rehire everybody by the end of the podcast.
Yes.
So you're welcome for the extension.
I mean, I feel like people should listen to us and be like, okay, they're like, not take some, like when we're talking like that, it's not that serious. Like it's venting, it's whatever it may be, but like it's like we don't have that juice, so don't worry about it. Like it's fine.
You don't. Some of us might.
Fair enough.
No, we're idiots. We've been pretty on record with that.
Josh, you and I have always kind of taken the tack like, don't take us seriously. Like, we're not decision makers.
Again,
But we also, please do take us seriously because we do have good information.
well, yeah, like if we say, hey, this guy is going to get fired, it's a different than we think he should be fired.
Right.
That's
No,
not
we were
the
like,
same
fire
level of
them all.
seriousness.
I mean, we were just
Yes.
jettisoning people into the sun last week.
It is. I was
Not
talking,
me.
I was talking about
Not George, though. He was giving you good information.
talking to my dad about this. It is funny, just the swings and the roller coaster that is a college football season, where you walked out of the Ole Miss, you woke up on Sunday boarding from the Ole Miss game 2 weeks ago, and is like, this is going to be hell. I feel like they're walking into a hornet's nest in Knoxville. And then by Sunday afternoon, it was like, okay, I think I'm going to talk myself into OU beating Bama like 4 to 5 times in between now and kickoff on November 15th. It's just, I don't know. Maybe we're all crazy.
I mean, look, Eddie was very down on the team's chances of winning.
It was just they had it. It was a repeated process of every time that
People
they
just
lose.
need but that's the thing is I hate to keep saying this, but everybody's got to get conditioned to losing some games. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like in this league, they're gonna lose some games, and that doesn't mean they're gonna just fall apart the next week. Like in some years they might, but
You have to have that kind of NFL mentality. Like,
yes, yeah.
Some weeks not going to go well, but
I it wasn't, and I think we covered this on the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast the night of the Ole Miss game. It wasn't because they lost; it was how they lost and the repeated
that
defenses.
they got the lead and then they just gave up a big drive.
And just I think the same could be said for last Saturday in Knoxville. It's like nothing is just completely fixed. Like Tennessee was complicit in some of why they lost, but there were some really good steps in the right direction for them to be able to win that game. Like that was a fantastic, just overall like win for the program, because now it does feel like, okay, you can do that. You can go on the road in a hostile environment and win.
You had to see it. And I think we're in unprecedented times in terms of fan bases calling for coaches to be fired. And I thought it was good for Kirk Herbstreit to step up and say that Tennessee fans that want Josh Heupel fired do not realize how much you sucked before he got there, and said it was a bunch of bullshit. And like, it was pretty harsh on Tennessee fans. Like, I could see how, after last year and the Nico stuff and all that, like, I was proud of Josh for the way that he handled it, like Bob Stoops would have. I mean, he's like, Tennessee football is bigger than Nico. And
I do think that, like, in that circumstance too, and we see this a lot with maybe even Oklahoma fans to a certain extent, that nowadays with basically aggregate writers, the opinion of like the vocal minority on Twitter all of a sudden becomes like
message
majority
board geniuses
opinion of everybody, when it's, because I've seen a lot of Tennessee fans basically, or not fans, but reporters basically saying like, it's not the majority of the fan base that wants him fired. They want to see it better. They want to see them be better than what they were on Saturday. But it's not like we need to run this guy out of town quite yet.
Well, and it's a lot like the message boards too. I mean, we have the same set of people that want everybody fired. Like, and they're continuing to just say, and it's like, it's not our job to like silence those people, but you just have to pay attention and realize this guy is a hater. Like, this guy probably is rooting for OU to lose the rest of the year so he can get rid of Brent Venables, because he's been trying to do it for 3 years now. Like, they're just those people that exist. But you go to the games on Saturday, the crowds have never been more into OU football than they are right now. I mean, that crowd that traveled to Tennessee,
it's awesome.
Was incredible. And the Tennessee fans, while they have all the same people bitching, from everything you guys said, that environment doesn't even come close, or 2015 doesn't come close to what that environment was like Saturday.
It was close. I think that like the dark mode and just everything, the presentation that they did on Saturday night with the lights, it just kind of ramped everything up.
And it was an elimination game in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Whereas that one in 2015 technically obviously wasn't. But
100%.
It'll be, Carey, to your point, if Oklahoma goes and finds a way to beat Alabama,
talk me into
it'll
it.
be an absolute madhouse at 11 a.m. against Missouri. And it typically is not at 11 a.m., but it'll be a madhouse.
And I will say, like, the crowd was great against Ole Miss.
It was awesome.
At 11 a.m.
It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But if they come home and they're like, you got 2 home games to get into the playoff, that place will be nuts.
Now,
especially against Missouri.
Yeah.
I don't think there's some love lost between the two fan bases.
I know, like, it's probably not a fair comparison, but I did listen to Herb Street's podcast this week, and he called the game, obviously, was raving about the atmosphere and said he thinks it's the best in sports almost. Like, so my question to you two is this, Eddie and George, because you were there. How far does OU, and I think I know the question of this, but how much further does OU need to go with their game day productions?
I think adding 40,000 fans in the state, or what? I guess it'd be 20,000.
20,000. I think what made the Tennessee one so good was, one, it's how many people are there. The
it's cavernous.
Elevated height, of the game and what it means. The uniforms, the lights. That's something that Oklahoma could copy. They could do some sort of light show.
The light stuff looked incredible, like on Eddie's
now,
Sights and Sounds.
Was it last year they did the drone show? That was pretty cool that OU did. The thing that I think OU needs to do is, Tennessee didn't have somebody just yelling into a microphone during every single break.
Yeah.
They were playing.
That's annoying.
They were playing jams. They were absolutely like, it was
they had a DJ.
Swag surfing, and what, they didn't have breaks every time and be like, we're going to honor this person. Like, and I get, like, there's certain things you got to do and all that, and promotions, all of that, but like it was like, we're here to watch an incredible football game and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so special. And I think sometimes Oklahoma has so much pomp and circumstance that they forget that it's about the football game.
Yes.
And it's not about screaming into the microphone.
I'm just nodding my head yes.
Like that to me is the biggest. And I will say, Tennessee is one of the few places we've been that it's been like that. Like, I don't think it's like,
so they don't take time out for the Chick-fil-A, have a...
No, and I'm not saying get rid of the Chick-fil-A.
They did do that.
They did do that. But like, they don't have all the other stuff. And
there's like, I feel like there's a terrible feel for time and place.
Yes.
With Oklahoma, as opposed to like some of the stuff, like they did do the kick, they brought a fan or a student out of the student section to make a field goal for, I can't even remember, it's for something for the rest of the year. It just feels like when Oklahoma does it, and maybe this is the way it works everywhere, where you just plan that stuff out from a marketing standpoint. It's like, second TV timeout in the first quarter, we're doing this, so on and so forth. It just feels like it's always the wrong time.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, the, after OU took the lead against Ole Miss, it was a very, like, I don't know, not generic, but where something forms just out of thin air. Organic feel for, like, that was when the stadium's been the loudest.
Yeah.
With the, shout playing, which, again, I would probably prefer different music, but I
thought the music choice too from Tennessee was elite.
Yeah, and
like,
they had
it was
a DJ
stuff everybody
and all that
knows.
kind
The
of stuff.
student section loves, like, and the DJ's not coming on and saying, "Oh, it's this," It's like there's no song of the game, and it's some bullshit song. Like,
you just. It feels like
the cup shit on the screen. It seems like they do that 4 times a game.
And maybe I missed some of that, but it just felt like everything was about the football game.
I just think that sometimes, to put it bluntly, the people and the powers that be at Oklahoma are just a little too concerned that they're going to get a call from somebody that lives in Claremore that says they brought Johnny to the football game. It was his first OU game. And, he got offered a bag of cocaine by somebody. It's just like, sometimes I feel like
the music is going to bring that element to the
they're
stadium.
too worried about the family experience, which I get. I don't have a family. I understand that, like from a kid standpoint, but at the same time, it is college football. People are usually partying all day. Let's be honest, and it is what it is.
And I will say again, like I was trying to say earlier, very few places are like Tennessee. Like when we went to Ole Miss, the game day atmosphere wasn't great. Like
no,
it wasn't
OU's
good.
Infinitely better. Outside
Missouri,
of the
I didn't think was good. Now Missouri did play some good music if I remember correctly, but like they weren't like we didn't walk out of there and be like, man, what an amazing atmosphere. I think Auburn was up there.
I don't know if you could tell too. Like one of the things that Tennessee does, very similar to Missouri, they have these speakers. It is so loud on the speakers. Like my mom was like, I cannot hear after the game. Like even Sunday boarding.
It was terrible in 2015 because do they still do the third down for
they
what?
Do.
Oh my God.
They did on the first one, on the first third down. I kind of blacked out after that. I don't remember if they did, but I got a chuckle out of it because it was the same song.
pumping.
I don't understand it though.
Like
I didn't think it was. Maybe it's an SEC thing, but to have all those speakers down there on the field and have that loud,
I know it's
crazy.
They cut it off before when
the play
they get over the line of scrimmage or whatever.
But see, I loved how it felt like even on video, it felt like you were on a stage, like it was
that's what. And
because the way the lighting was, like it would light certain parts of the field, or the spotlights were going crazy during timeouts.
I ran into Joe C at the men's and women's basketball game on Monday, and I told him, I was like, you guys got to get spotlights. I said that was awesome.
Yeah.
The spotlights and the way that they did the lights in the stadium, and Joe said that they took a lot of notes and all that, from the game, but like that to me, the spotlights were awesome, and just like the different.
It was cool.
I mean, it was very cool, and I was like, get lights for the band members, and maybe have the band actually wear their full uniform, to the games. I feel like,
and of course, all this is
for one game.
This is surrounding a night game, so right. I mean, there's only so much you can do.
And again, I think some of it is like I think the last 2 years the atmospheres in Oklahoma have been awesome, and it's largely just because they're playing better teams.
100%.
Like I think that has a huge thing 100%. To do with it. So
I mean, there's no question. I mean, last year a lot of people were like, we weren't ready for the SEC. This sucks. But like now, and I'm not saying they've arrived, but you can tell like how much better this thing is. From just a fan experience perspective, event, whatever, like being a part of the SEC is cool. Like it's infinitely better than what the Big 12 had.
One thing they could do, and this is just my opinion, is I think the intro video could be better this year. They need to bring back the old school intro videos,
like with James Garner.
Well, it's like there's only one Bubba Moses. Like that shit was awesome back in the day. And maybe that's just me being nostalgic.
Tug on some nostalgic
but like
vibe.
I guess I don't understand the like spray paint vibe this year, where they do like the spray paint bottle.
It's just whatever the
and it's
graphic
Gerald
design
McCoy
team decided to come up with.
Talking about Batman. It's like, what does that have to do with Oklahoma? But and I love GK, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I do like the part where he comes back like on screen to be the hype man and stuff like that.
I think him narrating's great. I just like there's like these Batman things, and like I'm just like, what?
I also
he's
think
really into Batman.
Yeah, he's a big.
I know,
Batman
but like,
guy.
what does that have to do with?
He's got like a life-size
football?
Batman in his house.
No, I know he does, but it's like again, like let's stick to OU football stuff, I guess. Anyways, Josh, tell us about Jaden Pettit. We talked to like 1 minute about recruiting.
Well, Carey will be happy to know I was using that time to delete some stuff off the server. So
very nice.
I was, properly using my time. Jaden Pettit. We again, for anybody that watches this and like I'd like some more depth. Certainly go watch the recruiting report on YouTube. That's a show we do every week on Mondays. So I guess this week it was Tuesday, as I say every day, or every week. But there with Jaden Pettit, I just. When he initially took his visit to Oklahoma for the Ole Miss weekend, there was kind of a feeling that I got from people that had followed him a little more closely since the summer and really kind of the Wisconsin side of things, that he was going to stick with Wisconsin. Like they really believed that and kind of thought that's where that was going to go. As time goes on, I think maybe people are starting to see like, oh, okay, this may not go Wisconsin's way. the more you talk to people, it's just like, yeah, Oklahoma really impressed him. They've stayed with him. He and Emmett Jones have a good relationship. There's a good connection there. And I think Oklahoma's done a lot to convince him, like, hey, you're a piece we don't have right now. For those that don't really know Jaden Pettit, he's like 6'3", 215 in high school. And you watch him on tape, he is a massive guy. I've said before that I think, if wide receiver didn't work out, he's big enough he could go play as like a flex tight end. Like he's that big of a guy. So I think with that idea in mind, there's talk of, you could play early here. You can be our jump ball guy, our vertical guy. We're going to work you across the middle. They can do some different stuff with him. And I just think there's some real interest from his side. Now, I kind of get the feeling he wants to see where it goes with Wisconsin. I think we all know Luke Fickell's kind of up against it right now. And if he gets let go, I think it's almost automatic that Oklahoma's gonna flip that commitment. But even if he doesn't, I kind of think OU wins out in the end here.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, so I mean, it's usually one of those things. As long as he's had the feelers out there, whatever you want to call them, to not double down on his commitment or whatever, you got to feel like there's something that's going to go down eventually. He just kind of, to me, Josh, it just feels like he's waiting for the kind of the signal to make the jump or make the decision.
Yeah, you do. I mean, Carey, I think,
and that's just me from the
point.
outside.
Like, sure. Like, what is that thing that would push him over the edge? I mean, you've got Oklahoma, like we've talked about all show, in contention for a playoff spot. Wisconsin struggling mightily in the Big Ten with, no real sign of life. There's nobody. There's not like, oh, well, they've got a promising young quarterback, or this is what held them back. They've not been very good on offense since Fickell got there. So I don't really know what the sales pitch is there. And again, with Oklahoma, you're going to have your quarterback likely returning, as we discussed earlier. You've got a receiver room that's going to lose some pieces that can open up some time for you. There's just a lot for Oklahoma to sell in that situation. But there does get to a point where, maybe over the next few weeks, you're like, well, what are you waiting for, man? Like, what's the holdup here? Because it seems pretty obvious, at some point. But, we'll see. But again, I think what's really interesting in recruiting right now, guys, is, and I feel like we've talked about it, but we keep seeing new names pop up in 26. Like, we turned so much of our focus to 27, 2 months ago. And now as we look around, you're like, okay, there's a new name. That guy could get an offer. That guy could get an offer. There was rumors of a midweek official visit from a Penn State commitment. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff happening here over the last few weeks that I think is going to make, this close towards signing day a lot more exciting than maybe we thought it was going to be.
Oklahoma already rated the Penn State recruiting class with Jasir Rogers' commitment about a week and a half ago, I think is what it would have been. We talked about it on the recruiting report. I almost called it the rewind. Messiah Mickens, another guy in the Penn State class. Just kind of the latest. I know that this seems like a situation where maybe there's been more interest than that was let on, but he certainly hadn't made it to Norman quite yet.
Yeah, so, I talked about it in the recruiting report that I was going to put some stuff in Woke. I've now written that. That's up on the site for people that want to go see it. But kind of in a abbreviated version, as much as I can ever do. What happened was Messiah Mickens had tweeted out a picture of himself at Oklahoma. He was in an OU jersey. And my initial thought was I didn't think that was him. I thought he'd taken somebody else's picture and just he tagged Jasir Rogers in it and was kind of like, hey, man, what's up? And, people were kind of like, oh, okay, he took a midweek visit. Well, what actually happened was he had taken a visit several years ago to Norman, back when you could still take the photo shoot pictures as an unofficial visitor. That's not allowed anymore. You can't do that. So I think, and again, I understand how it tipped people off to the idea, but he wasn't in the right number, and that confused me, and so we had to do some digging. But he has not taken an official visit. Like I said, if you go to the site, you can find more on this. It's a great time to sign up, obviously. But I do think Oklahoma is very much expecting him for a visit. To my knowledge, as of a few days ago, nothing had been finalized with a date for a visit. But I do think he's going to take one. And interestingly enough, I do think I do think the visit will be probably a midweek thing because of the way the playoffs are set up in the Pennsylvania high school ranks. It's kind of tough to take trips on weekends when you're usually playing on a Saturday.
All right. As I said, we have a full recruiting report up. Sorry we didn't get to more recruiting today on the podcast. But, hey, bye week. I imagine coaches probably might get a little bit further away, Josh, maybe get some trips out to either East or West Coast.
Yes, you're going to see that. And, again, there will be plenty in scoop on that. And the other thing, guys, and I will shamelessly tease this, we have another 2027 quarterback who has set up a visit to Oklahoma. So there is 2027 at quarterback. We talked about that after Peyton Houston. And interestingly, it doesn't seem like with the firing of Brian Kelly that Oklahoma is slowing down in 2027 quarterback recruiting. They're finding some names, and I think they're going to have two guys that they like on the same weekend in Norman in a couple of weeks. So I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Very interesting. All right, good stuff. Appreciate it, Josh. Appreciate it, Eddie and George. And we'll be back again next week to talk Alabama as the Sooners will be out of practice tonight. So stay tuned on our YouTube page and obviously on the website for all the latest coming out of talking to Brent Venables tonight, several players. And, looking forward to it. So we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here.
Basketball, 5-4.
There you go. 5-4. We'll get to Hoops Report
Both
soon.
teams, 5-4.
All right, that'll do it. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.